Okay, what's up, everyone? So here today we're just going to be doing a quick coverage of. We're going to be talking about the Ghost OG from Greasy Couture, and we're also going to be covering the difference between hash rosin and rosin. I know that a lot of people aren't even sure about this, to be honest. I know that a lot of people would say that the difference is very minor, but it's actually major. So let's cover the difference between these two first. I think that this is going to be a topic that people want to hear about very much. So the difference is um, basically hash is something that is very delicate. It is something that is not easy to make, and that's why a lot of people don't even attempt to even try to make it. And when they do, a lot of the times they come out with product that isn't um, super high yielding, so it's not necessarily something that they're able to make a great amount of money off of. It's usually a product that is more made for personal use or something along those lines. So it's definitely something that is going to cost a pretty penny. It's definitely going to cost a good amount of money to get some really high level hash. And that's why you just don't really see that often. But you do see a lot of rosin going around and stuff that is honestly food grade rosin. It's not even really high level rosin at all. It is more rosin that is really made for edibles. It's not really stuff that is good whatsoever. So it is fucking the market up right now. I do see that the market is in a weird time with the rosin, but basically how to tell the difference is um of course if you are getting it from a certain person who does washes or does presses, then you can see that right there. You would, of course, you could actually you could press hash and make it into rosin or whatever, but that is kind of pointless. You see a lot more people, well, I mean, people do that and it's actually like dope to do that, but um, you will see people actually posting this, and you will also see people actually washing to actually get the trichomes off of the flower. But when you see people just pressing the flower and they're using one of those presses to just get the rosin out, that is flower rosin, and that's really not necessarily going to be as effective. It's You're getting a lot of nonsense that is left over in there that is just really not worth it. So when you actually purchase it, you're getting a gram of whatever. Say you're buying a gram, for instance, and most of that is just going to be leftover plant material that is just a waste to smoke. It's kind of just pointless to go into your lungs. It's not necessarily going to be doing anything that's going to be giving you a high, giving a better taste. It's not anything better. So when you see real hash, what they're doing is they're literally taking the trichomes completely off. They're taking only the trichomes, and that's what hash is just trichomes. It's amazing, to be honest. If you really think about it in the bigger picture, if you were to look at my most recent video on my feed, I just posted this video where I zoom in on the trichomes. It's literally those just all sliced off, and that's what hash is. I actually have some piatella right now. I can show you guys. Realistically, it is probably in my other case, but if you look at my, I'll post a video of the piatella. It's dope to see what this stuff is. Of course, sometimes you will see leftover plant residue even in stuff like that, which is what it is. Sometimes people aren't necessarily the best washers, but you'll see the stuff that I have. It is amazing. It is dope to see. And honestly, when you're smoking that leftover stuff, that is kind of pointless. And that is the reason why hash is cleaner, hash is just more effective, it's better for you in the long run because less smoke, less chance of you actually getting harmed from the smoke. You know what I'm trying to say? Like cancer and all of those different things. That's why people filter it through the water and filter it through different stuff like that. But obviously, a lot of people aren't seeing the difference between hash rosin and rosin. So I felt like this is necessary. Of course, the big thing you will have to see is who's actually making this stuff. If it is someone who is using a press, then if watch what they're doing. If they're literally just pressing flour, then that's not even really stuff that you want to be consuming. That is probably not going to be really worth it. I would highly recommend really looking to see if these people are washing and going about it in the right process because this is a long process. This is definitely very cost effective. It's something if they're doing it in mass production. If you go look at Della Creme, if you go look at Della Creme's page, they sometimes often will post videos of them washing. It is not easy. This is not an easy process. So the sometimes I don't know. I just can't imagine that all these people are just keeping this like a huge secret. So even if you try a lot of this product that is going around, mainly stuff from Maine, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of flower rosin going around, or even just rosin. I guess you could call it live rosin, but it's not necessarily stuff that is going to be super effective. It is definitely not hash rosin. People should not be calling it hash rosin. It's not hash. It's not hash at all. You know what I mean? It was never formed into hash at any point. So to call it hash is just kind of foolish. It's kind of like calling beer liquor. It makes sense, I guess, to an extent, but it's like I don't know. I don't even know if that makes a lot of sense. I'm not someone who drinks a lot, so I don't know if that makes a lot of sense right there. But I think you guys understand the point that I'm trying to make. So in the bigger picture, the hash rosin is going to be a bit more pricey. You will see stuff that is on the market for it's going for like 100 grams sometimes. Like hash rosin is definitely stuff that's going to be a little bit pricey, but it's worth it. You try it, it's actually going to have you high for hours. You try the flower rosin, it's going to have you high for 30 minutes, just like smoking a blunt or smoking some weed. You know what I mean? It's like more probably smarter to be smoking flower and not taking the taking the risk of having someone pressing some moldy flower and giving you some really dangerous shit just formed into rosin now. You know what I'm saying? In the bigger picture, you can really turn any flower into rosin. So you have to think about it. If you really had some bad flower that you had a bad run and you're trying to get rid of this stuff, turn it into rosin. The rosin market is booming at the moment. I see a lot of people not only turning shitty flower into rosin, but they're also turning just dangerous flower, but it is what it is. In the bigger picture, you will get a higher yield. You will get a lot more out of the stuff if you were to turn it into just flower rosin. So that's the market at the moment. People are taking advantage of the fact that people aren't aware and people don't have the access to the knowledge because people will just make money off the fact that people don't know. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. I do think that people are going to be well aware once they try it. If you try hash rosin and flower rosin side by side, there is a humongous difference to the point where you will just be just shocked. It is amazing. You will be high for hours off of hash rosin and hash in general. To be honest, if you try like Piatella, that is the new hot thing on the market, that stuff is going to have you if you try like a point one, just like a little point one, like maybe even less than that, a little dab, you're going to be high for hours. You're literally going to be almost like too high, which is wild, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna say it's too high because that almost like makes people like think that it's bad. What I'm trying to say is it's like more like a purified version, which that even sounds a little bit weird, but I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say. This is stuff is not just like the regular rosin. There's regular rosin going around right now that is great. It's doing the job, but it's more or less just flour that is turned into this new object to make it look appealing, which is very weird in my opinion. I think that that is something people should be very fearful of. If someone has to change the form of something just to sell it to you, then is that a clean product? But let's move on. I think I ran through that enough. If anyone has any questions at the end, we could definitely cover that. But let's talk about the Ghost OG from Greasy Couture. This is stuff that I was actually amazed with. To be honest, this was potent weed, very potent weed. Definitely have had a lot of OGs recently, and I've even had the what was it? The Josh D's OG. I had a Josh D's OG very recently, and it was really good. I definitely would say that I'm a huge OG fan. I'm someone who would much I would definitely very much say that I am someone who is aiming for mainly only OGs as like the thing that I'm trying to grab if I'm shopping. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's something you don't really need to smoke a lot of, and you're actually going to be able to get the effects you're looking for. So this right here was 100% one of those OGs that 100% it actually did the job more than I was expecting. So let's just get into giving you guys a little bit of a rundown of what I even thought of it. Of course, the look, as you've seen, if you looked at the video that I posted of it, it's beautiful. I would say a 10 out of 10. Obviously, it's going to be something that you can't really say has anything bad about it. So 10 out of 10, I guess. But we move to the smell. The smell, I would say people there's going to be a large crowd of people who won't be a huge fan of this one. I have to admit it. It just is what it is. There's going to be a large crowd who aren't going to be fans. But if I was to give you a description on what it actually smells like, it's almost this fresh cut grass with like a hint of gasoline. And it's definitely something that is like clean smell. It's going to be strong. It's definitely going to be something that each time you open the jar, you're going to get a strong whiff of it. It's not one of those strains that's just going to disappear. I've noticed a lot of weed nowadays. Obviously, this is like veganic grown. I guess I don't know exactly what that means in this situation. I know that there's a lot of different veganic shit, but this right here is definitely stuff that I would say is passing the test in the smell. It's definitely going to be something that has a very strong smell that isn't going to die off quick. It's definitely something that's nice. So let's move on to the taste. The taste on it, I would say an 8. I would say, did I even say the number for the smell? I just smoked a little bit before this. The number is going to be 6. I'm going to say some people might look at this one and say, maybe lower on the smell. I'm going to say a 6. And personally, I would say I do love the smell on this one. Me giving it a 6 is just keeping in mind that a lot of people aren't going to be mega fans of it. So move on to the taste. This one's getting an 8. I would say it's actually going to have this surprisingly like sweet taste. Sometimes it's almost a taste that isn't going to be consistent. It's weird. I don't know how to fully explain that part about it. It's not something that was super consistent for me, but it was definitely something that gave me that full lung expansion, which is not something you get often. You do notice one of those strains that obviously OG is one of those strains that sometimes will give you that, but this definitely was something that It actually had like a surprisingly sweet taste that was pretty good. I would say it's definitely earthy. It's definitely something that is very much inconsistent though. I would say that the taste is not harsh at all. It's definitely sweet and smooth, and honestly it's definitely has that earthiness to it. Didn't really get like a lot of like gas. I would say it's more this sweet earthiness to it, which is good for an OG. It's definitely good for something that has the effects that this one does. In the bigger picture, this one for the taste is going to be an 8, but this one for the high is going to be a 10. I would say that this one for the high is extremely strong. As I said at the beginning, this one is definitely very strong. It's definitely going to pack a punch. It's definitely going to be something that is it's definitely going to be strong consistently too. One thing I've noticed about some things nowadays is you almost will get a different effect from it each time you smoke it. With this, you're going to get the same strong effect. It's definitely going to pack a punch each time you smoke this, which is fun. It's fun. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I think that this one is definitely one of those strains that's almost going to give you this like blanket over you feeling. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but it's almost like this sense of warmth, and it's like this sense of like you're just gonna be almost like a ghost took over you, which is weird. Obviously, I believe that's why they named it Ghost OG, but it's an interesting effect. It's definitely an interesting effect. It's something that you would have to experience for you to fully understand what I'm saying, maybe, but it's definitely something that is very strong, very much strong. So overall, I'm gonna say this one's gonna get an 8. I would say this one is definitely something that I enjoyed. I would say that some people are looking for that white ash nowadays. That's like the only thing people are looking for nowadays, and it's like it's not the only important thing. Let's say that. I think that this one not having white ash was what it was. It is what it is. I would say that I could imagine this one if it was maybe cured a little bit more, that it could have been a little bit better. It also could have been worse if it was cured more. That's something I've noticed with a lot of strains is I think people are literally over curing it and like overdoing it on some things. And when you smoke stuff that is a little bit more fresh and a little bit more a little less cured, you will get some strong effects and some really potent effects. I can definitely say that for the Dolly Parton that I had recently. The Dolly Parton was from Black Cat Genetics, and Black Cat Genetics is just someone who I've had stuff from them before. It seems very consistent that the stuff kind of burns a little bit black. What I've also noticed is the stuff is strong and it's candy. So it's stuff that you can't stop yourself from smoking. It's fire weed. It is what it is. And the fact that it gives you this super potent effect and it burns black is something that I kind of picked up on from that in a way, but I have noticed it with other stuff as well. I do think fresher weed is obviously going to be better for you in the long run. So if people can find that middle ground and actually dial it in perfectly, that might bring them to that next level. I do think that there is levels to this whole game. I think there's levels to every business. I think in the bigger picture, if you're making food, clothing, whatever the fuck you're doing, there's levels to it. You know what I mean? There's levels to what I'm doing, and I'm at a low level right now. But I stay consistent, keep building and building and building. One day I'll be at a big level, so or a high level, whatever the fuck you want to, however you want to say it. What I'm trying to say is this is definitely something that I would say is on a high level, but it is it is what it is. I think that everyone gets what I'm saying in the bigger picture. If anyone has any questions to end this off, I definitely am very much open to answering those. But if not, then I will just be promoting what I am going to be doing in the near future. What I'm going to be doing is the Sean O'Malley documentary. This is going to be posted tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow is if I get the chance to. So what this is going to be is a documentary about Sean O'Malley. Of course, he is fighting this weekend. This is going to be a amazing fight. This is also something that's going to be very much interesting because I took a interesting approach to this. I talked about how he uses stuff that isn't necessarily popular and how he takes an approach that isn't usual. He takes this interesting approach to his whole career, and he's played his cards very well. So I think that this is definitely a character who is going to be interesting to cover. I feel like I did it in a very different way, I think. So I hope this is going to be fun for the people to watch, and it appears no one has any questions. So I definitely very much appreciate anyone for even watching this, and I definitely will be doing a lot more content soon. If you are interested in the Sean O'Malley one, should be posted tomorrow if I get the time to do it. So I'm gonna get to it right now. I appreciate everyone. Hope everyone has a good night.